Welcome. Trauma is my jam, and by that I mean I help you understand what your body is doing. Let's make sense of it together. Hello and welcome back. Trauma is my jam, and by that I mean I help you understand what your body is doing. So let's make sense of it together. Are you a person who says, I'm fine, I'll do it myself, I don't need any help, I've got this? Maybe people even describe you as strong, capable, independent, and the one who always holds everything together. But underneath that strength, there may also be exhaustion, resentment, loneliness, and a nervous system that had learned a long time ago that depending on other people did not feel safe. Hyper-independence is when needing no one feels safer than risking disappointment, rejection, or vulnerability. It is not just being responsible. It is not about capability. It is when self-reliance becomes protective. And it can look like refusing help even when you're overwhelmed, struggling to ask for support, feeling uncomfortable when people try to care for you, believing it is easiest to do everything yourself, feeling irritated or anxious when someone offers help, pushing through everything alone even when your body is tired. Listen, no judgment here because this is 100% me describing myself. And on the outside, it looks like confidence. But on the inside, I know that this is rooted in survival. And when I need support and I need help, which every single one of us do, it feels terrible not being able to reach out or to be even able to accept help that people offer you. Now, hyper-independence often develops when a person learns early in life that support is inconsistent, unsafe, unavailable, or comes with a cost. Maybe your needs were ignored. Maybe asking for help led to shame. Maybe vulnerability was used against you. Maybe the adults around you were emotionally unavailable, unpredictable, critical, or overwhelmed themselves. So your nervous system does what it does. In order to protect you, it adapted. It learned, I do not need too much. I do not expect too much. I do not rely on anyone. I take care of it myself, and I stay in control. This is not a flaw. This is an intelligent adaptation that your nervous system has done for survival. Your body learned that depending on others could lead to pain, so it started protecting you through self-sufficiency. When support has not felt safe, receiving can actually feel threatening. That is an important piece people often miss. Someone offers help and your body does not interpret that as relief. It may interpret it as risk of disappointment, risk of being misunderstood, risk of losing control, risk of owing somebody something, and risk of being seen in your vulnerability. So even when part of you wants support, another part of you braces against it. And that is why hyper-independence is not just a mindset. It is often a nervous system that has adapted, and this is its strategy to keep you safe. Now, what it likely sounds like internally. It's easier if I do it myself. I don't want to be a burden. They won't do it right anyways. No one ever shows up. If I let myself need them, I could get hurt. I can handle it. And sometimes the one that I find the most painful is if I need help, I'm weak. And I'm the strong one. So I lose that identity. But here's the thing. Needing support is not a weakness. And listen, I tell my clients this all the time. Asking for help is actually a sign of strength. Unless, of course, it comes to me asking for help, right? But needing support is a human response. And it's the trauma that has taught us otherwise that it's unsafe to do so. So let me provide a real life example for you that's happened in my life recently. We had an event with one of my son's teams, and it was a travel event. And a week before we were set to go, the money for this trip just wasn't there. And I was like, we're going to have to cancel going on this event. And one of the other moms on the team, who's also a really good friend of mine, and I mean, she is one of the most beautiful people I have ever had the pleasure of having in my life. Her generosity is genuine, and it's true. And she knew that we were perhaps needing to pull out of attending the event. And she contacted me and said, listen, they have a larger family. And she said, we have 2 rooms. So come with, and your family can have our second room. And I know her. I know that her offer was genuine, that there would be no strings attached, and that she's just doing it out of a place of love. I couldn't accept it because I learned early on in my life that asking for help was going to get me hurt, was going to shame me, was going to lead to resentments or owing people later on down the road for something. And even though I know and knew that my friend was generally offering me this and that she would not have any of those feelings after the fact, I could not for the life of me accept her offer. Even though it would have meant that my son would have been disappointed that he couldn't go and that the team would be short a player. Even though, knowing all those things, I still could not say yes, because yes was far too scary. Yes felt far too unsafe and uncomfortable in my body. Now, let me give you another example. Say somebody is going through a hard season. They're overwhelmed, they're emotionally drained, and they're trying to keep up with work, parenting, and daily life. And a friend says to them, let me help you. And instead of feeling relieved, they immediately say, nope, I'm good. Not because they're actually good, but because their body is activated. Because accepting help feels exposing, because some part of them learned long ago that needing people is dangerous. It's exactly the responses that I went through with my friend's offer. So they keep carrying it all on their own. They keep functioning. They keep saying, hey, I've got this. I'm okay. Thank you. Even while their nervous system is silently screaming, this is too much. I can't do this anymore. That is what trauma does to us. It can make overfunctioning look normal. Now, hyperindependence can keep you safe in the short term, but over time, it becomes heavy. It can lead to burnout, emotional isolation, difficulty in relationships, trouble receiving love or care, resentments from always being the strong one, and feeling unseen because no one knows how much you are carrying. And in my case, perhaps missing out on an event that your family had been looking forward to. But here's what we have to learn to reteach our body. Survival and support are not the same thing. Being capable does not mean you are meant to carry everything alone. Now, I will tell you, the money showed up at the last moment and we were able to go to the event. And I was very grateful for that. Because I'll tell you, my nervous system would not have allowed me to go to the event, even though I know it would have devastated my son. And I gotta tell you, I would literally do almost anything for my kids. But I couldn't put my nervous system in that level of unsafety. I couldn't say yes. Because again, it's still a trauma response that I'm working on. And since I have segued into working on, let's talk about a regulation tool that you can use when you notice hyperindependence. So this practice will help soften it. The first step when you notice is to not force yourself to become suddenly vulnerable. Okay? That is definitely not going to feel safe. And it's definitely not going to soften and bring you down. The first step is helping your body feel safe enough to receive. So what you can do is you can try this. Pause and place one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach. Take a slow breath in and a slightly longer exhale out. And ask yourself, what feels hard about receiving help right now? And then just notice what comes up without judgment. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's discomfort. Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's mistrust. Whatever it is, just accept what comes without judgment. And then ask yourself, what is one small way I could let support in without feeling overwhelmed? Maybe that's letting someone hold the door for you. Maybe that's letting someone listen when you need to vent. Maybe it's accepting a coffee, a meal, a ride, or a check-in. Or maybe it's saying, I'm not used to help, but thank you. Healing always doesn't begin with big vulnerability. It begins with small moments of safe receiving. So for me, in my situation, what I had to do is I had to find myself, ground myself, and I had to look at my beautiful friend and say, I love you. I am beyond appreciative of your extremely generous offer. But my trauma experiences, my trauma responses that I am still working on, cannot allow me to accept this gift from you. And that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with my experiences in the past and how my body is feeling about it. Now, I do wish to point out that I am making small progress on this, and that this regulation tool is working fairly well for me, of taking that breath, asking myself, what is it that I'm feeling? And then asking myself, what is one small step I could take towards receiving? Now, in that scenario, it was just speaking up and sharing with my friend and making myself vulnerable and saying, listen, I cannot do this because my body is having a meltdown right now and will not let me accept your offer. But there have been other small wins that have been happening for me over the last few months, because this is one of the trauma responses that I have been working on. It's one of the last remaining ones that still kind of has a grip on me. There have been times over the March break, this same friend took my son to do an activity, and she paid for it, and I allowed her to. That was a big step for me, but I allowed her. And I thanked her. And let me tell you, my nervous system was like, oh crap, now you owe her, right? She doesn't feel that way. Those are my responses talking. But see, it's about small progress. Hyper-independence is not proof that you are strong enough to do life on your own. None of us are. It is often proof that your system learned that it had to. And there is compassion in recognizing that. Because when you understand what your body is doing, you can stop shaming yourself for it. You can then begin to gently teach your nervous system that support doesn't always equal danger. And that safe, loving, caring people exist. And that receiving is allowed. And that rest is allowed. And that help is allowed. And that you deserve to have that help and support. If this is your pattern, I want you to know this. You're not broken. You adapted. Your independence may have protected you once, but healing may look like learning that you don't have to hold everything by yourself anymore. And that does not make you less strong. It makes you safer. And listen, I know this is not an easy path. Again, this is my life's work. Trauma is my jam because it is my life's work, both personally and professionally. This is how I make a living, is I help other people walk through their trauma. And I have been on my own healing journey for the last 2.5 decades. Like focused working through my healing journey. And I still struggle. Because again, nothing is going to change overnight. Our brains work on repetition and patterns. And our nervous system needs a lot more time to catch up to the logical changes that we do in our healing journeys. And so it's okay for me to be where I'm at. Because listen, many of us that are hyper independent do not understand that it is likely a trauma response that is happening in our body. So, if you do all the things, then we help send this message out to other people that may be struggling who don't even know they're struggling. As always, if you are looking to work a little bit more in depth on your personal individual healing journey and you feel called to work with me, you can connect with me through my website, which is linked in the descriptions. I thank you so very much for being here and for allowing me to walk alongside you on your healing journey. Take care.